Alright, welcome back to Curl Gaming, where we discuss all things video games and gaming in general. Today we're going to take a look at another pinball machine, a newer title that was pretty decisive when it came out. It still is, and it's almost a punching bag of the pinball community. Anyway, what that is John Wick. This is the Pro model, so let's break into it and take a look and come back and discuss.
Just asking you to try. So I guess you have a choice. You want a war, or you want to just give me a gun?
The Continental appreciates that. Shoot accurately, and maybe the high cable will loosen its grip. Let the table know who you are.
Congratulations.
You wanted me back. I'm back. What do you mean? Play carefully. The flipper versus the katana will not be much of a contest. You're not very good at retiring or controlling the ball. You're not very good at retiring. What could go wrong with something really rare? Roma play a dangerous game. Look sharp.
You all?
If you need help, yet you'll be bound by its obligation. Familiar face. That's why I'm not the one telling you that a certain extra ball is lit. Skills rival even yours. One for the record books. Mark it, please. You have made quite the impression, Jonathan.
You should have stayed out for all our sakes.
If you ever need the services of a concierge, Akira can help you. Save my board, I say. Instead, am impressed. The Continental appreciates your accuracy.
I'll see you soon.
This marker might save you, but its consequences. Help our guest, will you? Extra ball.
Have you returned to the fold?
You are.
Is not to be taken lightly by ignorances.
Lock is lit.
The Marquis de Gramont will not hesitate to stab you in the back.
Lock is
Jeez.
Time expiration.
You want a war or just another ball? I feel the skills right even.
Second round. Awarded.
Comunicado. Skills, no fun,
Damn it.
Game 7 is ready if you need it. Kira, get it, will you? Comes another one. Keep getting it down. The service is here. That's right.
Welcome to the Osaka Continental.
Impressive tally. Sign here. I knew you would do the Continental proud.
Alright, welcome back. Hopefully you like that look at John Wick Pro Pinball Machine by Stern. Huge shout out for the designer of the John Wick alternate translate that I used for my thumbnail. I'll leave it a link to in the description if you're interested in purchasing it. They are on Pinside, so one of the reasons why that translate was made to begin with, and one of the reasons why there's been a fallout for this game, was you have a John Wick pinball machine, but if you look at the playfield art, cabinet art, backglass, anything, there is no guns present. They did release a plastic for the weapons crate after the fact that had tiny little guns, so you could put that on there. Even if you have that on there, you don't really see it. But the lack of weapons, or lack of guns, doesn't bother me on this title. One of the main reasons is if you have the game sandwiched in a row between other titles, you're not really going to notice. Plus the fact that the LC display, lots of people are getting shot. So you got tons of guns there, lots of gunplay and stuff. Even you got Kira with her bow taking out enemies, which is pretty good too. So one thing you'll notice with this Pro, I just recently picked it up, but I went all out. So I did pick up the expression lights, got those installed. Not only for the cab but the speakers, also did the shaker motor and the quiet fan kit. Now I don't mind the art on the Pro, actually across all three models, and I guess that's another sticking point going through the thread. The art on all John Wick cabs is very divided. A lot of people do not like the Pro. Very simple, but I don't mind it. Wick versus Zero. It suits the theme, but I can see where people are coming from. Now that alternate translate that I used for the thumbnail, I have seen pictures of people with that installed on a Pro, and the color scheme matches the size of the cap perfectly. So while I don't mind the kind of orangey blacks of the Pro Translite, I may end up going with that Translite that I used in the thumbnail, just because I feel that completes the overall package. Not only that, but even in their post, they described that they tried to mimic the aesthetic of Randy Martinez, the actual artist that did the art packages for these games. So shout out to them, and I'm sorry I forget the Pinsider's name who did that, but like I said, I will put a link in the description if you are interested in purchasing that Translate. Another reason why this game is breaking, I don't want to say breaking people apart, but very divided. So as of this recording, it is 0.94 on the code, and just recently, so I'm recording this April 8th, and just recently Tim Sexton, lead designer, quit Stern and moved on to other, not lead designer, lead programmer has quit and moved on to another position somewhere else, which is fine, but there does seem to be a lot of the sky is falling on Pinside. Keep in mind that usually when there is a programming team, it is just that, it is a team. It's not all reliant on one person. There is other people involved, and that other person that was involved has made posts on Pinside saying, hey, this is how you complete the modes, because before, when the game first came out, people are like, you can't complete the modes, you have to wait for the timer and time everything out, and that wasn't the case. So they chimed in and said, no, you complete your modes by completing this and then hitting the left scoop. Do this and finish the left scoop. So I'm not sure when that was. I think that was like 0.81 or 0.84, but the game has evolved quite a bit, not only with assets and callouts and stuff, but overall in general. I personally love the look and feel of this game. One thing you'll see right off the bat in one of the videos, I made that center shot. It comes around, just falls off the wire form, goes into the VUC. So I was getting that quite a bit, and that was at a pitch of 7. And then I've had people saying, well, instead of increasing the pitch, why don't you lower it? So I did lower it. My flipper powers turned quite a bit down. I think I'm at 218. Some people are saying, well, you can do like between 220, 230. So I'm at 218 for the flippers. I've dropped the pitch to 6.4, and it has tamed it by a lot. So last time I had it at like 7, I did 4 consecutive center shots, and each one just fell off the ramp into the VUC, off the ramp into the VUC. So that can get kind of annoying. But at the same time, when I was at 7, and I've even raised the rubbers on the flipper, was to do the orbit on the right side, and a lot of times it would just whip around and smash into that back building plastic. So when I opened up the game and looked inside, that goodie bag is full, basically a whole complete plastic set. Now usually you only get like the slings or something that may be breakable. Well, part of the reason is this game is Airball City. I did leave the glass on for this one just for that case, but during these recordings I only had that one issue with the ball coming off the ramp, I believe just the once. So it has made a huge difference going from 7 to 6.4. One thing I did notice was a couple of times from the dance club on 6.4, it would just kind of come out and then you would get the straight down the middle, whereas when it was pitched more at 7, I do have the deflector from Rocket City installed, but they did include 3 other ones, so I may have to increase the width of that one, and I do have a thicker one. So before, when I was at 7, I tried the thickest one first, but that was too much, so I put the smaller one on and it was perfect. Now that the pitch is lower, the ball can kind of dribble out. You have to put the thicker one in back to feed it to the right flipper or the right sling. Shots are pretty tight on this. That's another reason why this game gets knocked a lot. I've only had it not even a week at the time of this recording, and I'm still trying to find my shots. So I want to get dialed in to the point where I'm happy with how the ball flows, travels, minimize air balls as much as possible. Same with balls falling off that center wire form, and simple stuff like that. The weapons crate, I've had a few times. Again, this was on 7. I shot it off the left flipper into the crate, like the crate buck, but I would just go right past it, up, and then roll back down and into it. So I would totally clear that opening, go back onto the skill shot lane, or I guess the shooter lane, and then fall back in. And again, that was with toned down flipper power. So just trying to think what else. I do have the armor coming. It was supposed to be here with my game at the time of pickup, but lots of miscommunication between the distributor and their partners, so I should be getting that apparently in the next 3 weeks. So yeah, no comment on that. That should be here hopefully by May 1st. So I'm not sure when I'm going to post this video, but as of this recording, April 8th, 2025, and being told that I can probably get my side armor by May 1st. And it was supposed to be there with the game, and it's already out. So anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. Like I said, this game is very divisive. I love this theme. There's only been a few games that have been dream themes for me, and this is one of them, and it's met my expectations. I know it hasn't met a lot of people's expectations, just going through forums and feedback online, but it depends what you're expecting. I know a lot of people are kind of burnt out on fan layouts. This one is a massive fan layout, just the shots are pretty tight, and I think that's just to accommodate everything that's there, but it's not wide and open like Venom per se. Venom is a very wide open standard fan layout that's very fast. This game is also very fast, but I can see some people getting burnt out on this. Something like Dungeons and Dragons, where there's multiple shots, it's not quite a fan layout, and you have a third flipper to hit several other areas. That's quite the departure. Same with the Jack Danger games, X-Men and Foo Fighters, and Keith Elwin, going away from fan layouts and presenting totally unique experiences for the pinball player. Yeah, so with that being said, let me know what your thoughts are. Have you played John Wick? I've only played the Pro. I know of the extras on the Premium and LE, like the physical ball lock. The car isn't just a kickback, it does the blocking and holding of a ball, and the Blood Oath marker opens and closes. So on the Pro, Blood Oath marker is just a flat plastic with the LEDs behind it. It does look kind of cheesy, so I have ordered the Lear Mods 3D model that looks exactly like the premium one. It just doesn't open, so you mount it and you just leave it open as much as you want. So I'll probably do another video on this for when the next code update comes out. As for toppers, I've had people ask me before about toppers. While they're nice, I really don't have the clearance room, and I can't really justify the cost on those. It was bad enough for those expression lights. I think they're like 400 US. You don't want to know what I got hit with on the Canadian side. So with that being said, for me, must-haves on like new Stern games would basically be rails, side art, shaker, and the quiet fan, and in some cases the alternate translate, which I may do with this. So if I do another video in the future when the code gets updated again and is mature and I've got everything leveled out, next time I do the cab, maybe we'll see the exact same translate I used for the thumbnail. So if you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe. I do upload on a regular basis. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you all next time.